Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Game On, exclusive to Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston, and in this episode, football journalist Adam Santarossa takes us through all the big stories of the beautiful game. Tennis commentator Brett Phillips also takes a look at the Laver Cup, but let's begin with sports news. The Olympics are well and truly done and dusted, but there's still plenty of positive stories for our Aussie athletes. 21-year-old track and field competitor Riley Day performed admirably at the Tokyo Games, registering a new personal best time of 22.56 seconds in the 200-metre semi-final, and in the process, she fell agonisingly short of a place in the final itself. She also picked up a whole lot of fans throughout her journey, and they did indeed become aware that Day balanced her athletics training with working part-time at giant supermarket chain Woolworths. Woolworths was subsequently flooded with thousands of comments calling for them to sponsor Day after her incredible performance at the Olympics, and they've now come to the table. In a beautiful twist, the supermarket giant has now revealed details of a new partnership with Day that will allow her to relocate to Brisbane to work on her dream of competing at the Paris Games in 2024. Brisbane will offer Day access to better training facilities, coaches and programs in her quest for an Olympic Games medal in Paris. And as part of the partnership with Woolworths, Day will partake in a number of educational programs centred around healthy eating and also fresh food. Day will also take part in a new program that helps identify and fund rising stars of the future, with Woolworths to select 3 team members each year to receive $10,000 grants towards chasing their dreams in the world of both arts and sports. Still on our Olympians, and middle distance runner Peter Bol has backed up his Tokyo heroics. Bol, who finished 4th in the men's 800-metre final in Japan, has followed up his strong form, claiming first place at the Memorial Wisławama Nyaka Izijin with a time of 1 minute and 45.49 seconds. Poland's Patryk Dobek, who pipped Bol at the bronze medal in Tokyo, placed 8th in a time of 1 minute and 47 seconds, .24. Now, just before we move on to rugby league, just a quick little reminder that if you are still struggling with the post-Olympics come down, the Paralympics aren't too far away. They'll begin this coming Tuesday, the 24th of August, running until September 5, with Australia being led by champion tennis player Dylan Alcott and swimmer Ellie Cole as 2 genuine gold medal contenders. Turning our attention now to rugby league, and in the NRL, former West Tigers captain Moses Mbai has secured an early release from his playing contract. Mbai, who was contracted to the Tigers until the end of the 2022 season, will now link up with the St George Illawarra Dragons on a 2-year deal. He's not the only high-profile player on the move though, with popular Knights utility Connor Watson set to return to the Sydney Roosters on a 2-year contract. The super sub, who brought up his 100th game last weekend, will link back up with coach Trent Robertson, who handed him his 2016 debut for next season. Still with rugby league, and with Canberra going into a snap lockdown, the Canberra Region Rugby League, also known as the CRRL, has moved to confirm their intention to keep the 2021 season alive, albeit with some significant changes. According to the CRRL, based on the current potential for the lifting of lockdowns in the ACT from September 2, the decision has been made that regular season matches are now effectively completed, and the competition will, if possible, move into a final series. The goal is to complete the final series and the grand final before the end of September, with a week of training before recommencement of the competition to occur in order for players to adequately prepare. Turning our attention now to cricket, and Australian selectors have made the shock call to drop vice-captain Alex Carey from the 2020 World Cup squad and include youngster Josh Inglis. Carey is one of the players who has paid the price for Australia's poor performances recently against Bangladesh and also the West Indies. While there had been initial fears that Marcus Stoinis and Kane Richardson could also face the axe, they've been retained in the squad. Glenn Maxwell, David Warner and Pat Cummins are all back into the squad, alongside Steve Smith, who has overcome an elbow injury as Australia hunt their first major men's T20 trophy. Australia will play their first T20 Cricket World Cup match on October 23. Well, the first week of the EPL is done and dusted, and to recap this week of action for the beautiful game, let's catch up with football commentator and journalist Adam Santarossa. Adam Santarossa, welcome to Game On.
Good to be here, James.
Adam, thanks for joining the show once again. Let's start with a huge opening round of the English Premier League. Some great stories that have already emerged from it. Let's start with the Killer Bees. They are well and truly stinging in their first ever match.
Yeah, terrific performance, and it was great to see. I know we touched on them last week on the show. Brentford, terrific win over Arsenal. What a way to start your campaign. And you saw the pictures that went around the world of what it meant to their fans, in tears, in a good way, which could very well change quickly in the Premier League. But it's a celebration for Brentford at the moment. And what a scout for Arsenal, who are now in the headlines for the wrong reasons pretty early into the season.
Yeah, it's a big scalp to pick off in the very first match, not just for the season, but obviously in the history for them in the Premier League. I think the other big story that's come out of the first round as well also involves Tottenham and a new favourite song for them, you could say.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. They were giving a bit back to Harry Kane, obviously courtesy of that win over Manchester City. And it does put some pressure back on their captain, whether he wants to make that move. I think it will still go through. I think his intent is still to move to Manchester City. I think it's a question of the price. And these things obviously will go down to the wire. I think Tottenham have shown, Levy in the past has shown he's not prepared to budge from his number. So it'll be interesting to see just how firm he is and Man City. What they do if results continue not to go their way. I think it was just a little blip at the weekend. They've got a lot of players who are just coming back from the Euros and the Olympics and the Copa America. So, I think that one will go down to the wire. But I think ultimately, he goes to Manchester City.
Wow, big call. Now, another one for yourself. Would have been a bit of a difficult time watching it. Leeds going down to Man U 5-1. Paul Pogba was on fire. How do you see Manchester United in terms of challenging for the title this year?
Yeah, really impressive performance. I didn't expect Manchester United to be so emphatic in that win over Leeds. I think as a Leeds fan, it is a little bit concerning to perform like that defensively in the first week. But yeah, Manchester United were just red hot, and it's put a bit of pressure on them. There's now a little bit of expectation that things are turning, and they're they are a competitor to Manchester City and Chelsea and the likes, but there's real optimism that they can be the best team in the Premier League this year. Considering too that team on the weekend was not full strength. They were far away from that. They've signed Rafael Varane as well, who will be a great addition to their defence, but Marcus Rashford wasn't in the matchday squad. A number of players still missing. So they're only going to get better. And I think you saw Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba, probably their two best players, to be in that form so early in the season. I mean, it augurs well if you're a Man United fan, but it does come with a bit more pressure than perhaps they wanted so early.
Well, consistency is, of course, key with the EPL. It's a very long campaign. Just before we move on, though, quite interesting, in the first week, not a single draw out of the 10 matches.
Yeah, it's something the Premier League has sort of seen in the last sort of 2 to 3 seasons. It's really developed a real ultra-attacking philosophy. I mean, the football you see in the Premier League, it's so intense. I mean, we've seen some ridiculous scorelines in the last couple of years, and it's because of that mantra, just the speed that the game is played at. You just see defence is not really a strength of a lot of teams. It's really, and I mean, Leeds was the perfect example of that. So you're seeing some great football, and I think that's only going to continue to. The English Premier League is seen as the best league in the world from an entertainment standpoint. It's only going to remain there, and I think that cagey sort of defensive-minded football is for other leagues. It's not the Premier League at all.
Yeah, it's a tight competition. It'll be really interesting to see how it unfolds. Of course, another 37 rounds still to come. Let's now focus on one of our own, though, in the form of Ange Postecoglou. He's doing fantastic things at Celtic. They've now hit 5 straight wins. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's just, results are starting to turn. I think he's had a bit of time. He's brought some players in. He's had time to mould his squad. And, there was some criticism around when they went out of the Champions League that, it was going to be a barren run for Celtic. But, coincidentally, he started to get some players back from international duties, those that were at the Copa America and the Euros as well. Made some key signings. He brought the likes of Joe Hart in. And I think that's just all, we've seen the benefits of that start to come through. So I think from what we've seen out of Ange, it's just a bit of time. He's had now, an extended sort of 6 to 8 weeks with the squad, and the results are there. We're seeing that football philosophy shine through. They're playing great football. You go through the Scottish press and you listen to the Scottish fans on social media, and they're saying it's not just the results that are pleasing, it's the football they're playing, the style of football, the way they're playing. It's an attacking style. And you've seen already what he's done. Like Tom Rogic has been at Celtic for a number of years. He's got 6 goals in 6 games. So, he's a different player under Ange, as are a lot of others. The Japanese striker they've unveiled this year, he's sort of come from the clouds and he's just banging goals in since Ange has been there. So, it's all, the trajectory of Celtic is a good one and it's all going right for Ange, but there is a game coming up in 2 weeks against Rangers, and the result out of that game, that could change everything. So if he doesn't quite get the result there, they may be at the door again. But for the moment, he's doing a great job. AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, that's a pretty fair scalp. So to have that in the bag, I think they're on the right path.
Yeah, it does certainly bode well for the future. Where he has gone, there has been success in the past, and hopefully he can continue that. Might even be a few bigger leagues that come knocking quite soon for his services. Just before I let you go, Adam, let's touch on one of the biggest superstars in world football, arguably of all time. That is, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo. We know last week Messi had his future sorted, heading across to PSG. Inevitably, whenever there's discussion about Messi, Ronaldo seems to be brought up. We've now had a bunch of strange rumours surrounding Real Madrid and potentially even PSG as well. Can you make sense of them for us?
Yeah, these always come around. When the transfer window is open, there's always speculation of moves and what, one player's move, how that translates to another player. And I think the Ronaldo stuff has really come out of Neymar and where he may go. There's talk, both he and Mbappe could be on the move. Neymar could move back to La Liga, and does that open a spot for Ronaldo potentially to go to PSG in a bit of a dream situation next year with Messi? There was also speculation that Ronaldo would go to Real Madrid again. And he sort of came out and squashed that with his statement saying, his time at Real Madrid has been, or his story at Real Madrid, has been written. So, things get thrown around all the time. I mean, Ronaldo has mentioned he'd like to go back to Manchester United at one point. He'd like to end his career at Sporting Lisbon, where it started. So you just never know. It's just the transfer window's open and it's agents playing a little bit of games and a little bit of dominoes. It's until someone signs a contract, until we get that press release and that player, holding the jersey in the air, it's just all talk at this point.
Yeah, you're 100% right. The proof is in the pudding, and at the moment, they are all just rumours. Adam Santarossa, as always, you're on the ball. Thank you so much for joining Game On.
Thank you.
Nest webinar, 2 must-know ASX-listed emerging stories with Bruce Smallish, Managing Director, VRX Silica, and Inderjeet Indy Singh, Executive Chairman, Fiducian Group. Unprecedented times and volatile markets have completely changed the investment preferences amidst the market gyrations owing to the pandemic. Companies primed to ride trends are extending leads. Do you wish to hear stories of emerging companies that are making a mark on the ASX? Then you are in the right place, as we at Kalkine Media get you the emerging stories of companies that are riding the wave. To know more about such promising businesses, grab your free seat for the Invest Nest webinar by Kalkine Media, 26th August 2021 at 12:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Hear about the success story of an Australian-based silica sand explorer, VRX Silica Limited. VRX Silica has been on the investors' radar for its attractive operational footing, buoyant market opportunity and stock returns. To discuss the key attributes of our client, VRX Silica, and its future plans, we will have the Managing Director of VRX Silica, Mr. Bruce Smallish. And not just this, unravel the journey of a specialist financial services provider, Fiducian Group Limited. Our client, the Fiducian Group, operates across Australia and offers its services to financial advisors as well as retail and wholesale clients. The company provides premium wealth services and solutions to its clients, delivering double-digit returns to its shareholders over the last last 5 years. To discuss the company's future plans, we will have the Executive Chairman of the Fiducian Group, Mr. Indy Singh. Do not miss the exclusive Invest Nest webinar by Kalkine Media to hear from the business honchos themselves. Block your seats now for the exclusive webinar, August 26, 12:30 p.m, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine Media.
Yes, well, it will be very interesting to see if any of the rumours surrounding Ronaldo do come to fruition. And another enticing week of action on the cards for the EPL. Liverpool and Burnley will kick off the round tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, just before we move on from the world of football, how about this for a bizarre story? We've seen Usain Bolt take to the field in the A-League pre-season for the Central Coast Mariners a few years ago. Now we're witnessing the first UFC convert. Russian UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov has signed a contract with Legion Dynamo, a club based in Makhachkala, who are in the third division of Russian football. And as it turns out, the 32-year-old actually has some pretty serious skills on the pitch, scoring a rocket in a posed session earlier this week. Now, Legion Dynamo finished fourth in their league last season and will be keen on competing for promotion to the second division, having made a pretty solid start to their campaign, picking up 7 points from their opening 3 fixtures. Time now for a very short break on Game On. Tennis commentator Brett Phillips will join us on the other side of these messages on Kalkine TV.
Hi, I'm Sage, and get ready to take the crypto ride with me on Kalkine TV. Watch the Crypto Buzz every Tuesday and join the excitement at Kalkine TV. From Bitcoins to NFTs to Dogecoin and DeFi, we have updates about everything around these digital currencies. Understand the investing rationale and the risks involved in the space with me, Sage, on Crypto Buzz. Keep watching Kalkine TV.
Welcome back to Kalkine TV. James Preston with you for Game On, and it's now time to talk tennis with the one and only Brett Phillips. Well, Brett Phillips, thanks so much for joining Game On.
Thank you, James. Good to be here.
Great to have you back, mate. Let's start with the Laver Cup. Now, fans might be back to watching sport in many parts of the world, but unfortunately, they won't get a glimpse of Federer, Nadal or Djokovic. They're all out of action.
Yeah, they are. And look, it's going to be good to have the Laver Cup back this year. It unfortunately had to be cancelled last year. It's going to be played in Boston at the TD Garden, where the Boston Celtics play. And yeah, look, it's been one of those events that has certainly captured our imagination. I mean, it's added another event to the calendar. And, certainly, look, Federer's, got a major investment in the Laver Cup. I think, for many years to come, Roger will still be involved. But obviously, as we know, as we've learnt this week, we don't know whether we're going to see him ever again, which left me a little flat at the start of the week, to be quite honest. Trying to see him here in Australia one more time, maybe introduce him onto Rod Laver Arena for one more time. But there's a glimmer of hope that he might come back, and let's hope he can finish on court. I can understand from Novak's point of view, it's been a pretty brutal year. He's trying to win the US Open. That's the major focus, to complete the calendar slam, and it's a time of the year when the niggles certainly set in, and Nadal's got a foot injury at the moment. Whether he even gets up for the US Open, all that to play out over the next week or so. But yeah, the next run is absolutely ready, and they're going to be the future of the Laver Cup, no doubt. When you look at the names of Medvedev and Tsitsipas and Zverev and Rublev, adding Casper Ruud now, what a year he's had. The Norwegian, who's won up until this hard court swing, he'd won 3 clay court titles in a row. He's made his name on clay, but he's now trying to really make his name on hard courts, but he's creeping up on the top 10. So, yeah, the next rung are pretty good. They're going to fill Team Europe and also the other team, of course, representing the US.
Let's turn our attention now to Montreal, and it's a big win there for Camila Giorgi.
Camila Giorgi, wow. No one saw this coming, James. We've always known she's been an unbelievable ball striker. I mean, that little yellow furry ball takes an absolute pounding when Camila Giorgi winds up on that forehand or that backhand. She plays with no subtlety whatsoever. So 29 years of age. She turned pro when she was 14. Her parents were from Argentina, emigrated to Italy. At one stage, she was going to play under the Israeli banner. And there was negotiations going on between her father and the Israeli Tennis Federation. That didn't work. There's 4 siblings in the Georgie family. Mum and Dad invested a heap into Camilla. They saw she had the talent. Even the great Nick Bollettieri, the great tennis coach, offered her 7 weeks of training in Florida. He's only done that for one player previously, and that was Maria Sharapova. And then some investors got on board that didn't fare too well because the money wasn't coming back from the Georgies. Obviously they were helping finance the expenses in exchange for a slice of prize money, and there was lots of controversy around that. She was banned from the Fed Cup for Italy, about 3 or 4 years ago, to pay a hefty fine because she refused to play. Her father's quite entertaining, very animated Italian courtside. He's got the Einstein hair, middle-aged man who rides every shot Camilla plays. And 1 year in Hobart, look, tough conditions down there at the Domain Tennis Centre. It was a late-night match, and we were doing the live stream, James, and she served 25 double faults. Oh. And that was the same year that she recorded the most double faults in the history of the WTA in a year. That was 458. So when it works, it's brilliant. But when it goes outside the tram lines, it's erratic, and she can be beaten 6-1, 6-love in a hurry. So there's nothing in between, but she wins the biggest title of her career. She was probably a bit shell-shocked herself. English hasn't always been her forte, and I had that experience at the Sydney International a couple of times trying to interview her, and she said, 1 question, please. I interviewed her, gave her about 3 questions just to push the boundaries to see it. She couldn't run far enough. She could not run far enough. But well done to Camilla Giorgi, because we love the aggressive players who just play the lights out, really.
Well, I guess the question I asked then, knowing that she only has the 1 speed and it's taken this long to break through for somewhat of a major title, can she get another one? Is it possible?
Yeah, look, certainly at that level, because she'd won 2 previously at sort of the 250 level. So this is a big step up to win at a 1,000 level. She's made a quarterfinal of Wimbledon before. She's one of those players, if she has a day out, she can beat anyone. I mean, anyone. But for example, she's gone from Montreal to Cincinnati this week, and she lost first round to Jessica Pegula, who actually beat her in, I think it was the quarters or the semis. So quick revenge for Pegula. That's a few days is a long time in tennis. To be honest, she would have probably been a little bit fatigued. She played some big, tough, long matches in Montreal last week. So a little bit of a letdown. You excuse her for that. But yeah, depending on the draw at the US Open, that'll give her enormous confidence. If she can win one of those, maybe I can go really deep into a major with the women's field, generally being pretty open.
Absolutely. Now let's just touch on Cincinnati before we wrap things up. Ash Barty getting off to a good start, her first win for some time.
Yeah, first win since Wimbledon. We know she crashed out early in Tokyo in the singles. Went on to win the bronze, of course, in the mix with Johnny Peers. But yeah, watch that match today. It wasn't perfect. This is the great part about Ash. She can not play perfect and still win. She served 9 aces, but she threw in 8 double faults. So a bit of a mixed bag there. She'll want to just fine-tune and sort that out. She's got Azarenka next, and they're good friends who played a lot of doubles together. And Vika being a former world number 1. But yeah, she could go through and win Cincinnati this week. Her serve is her absolute weapon. When that serve is on, it's tough to get into the Barty game. She can get a little bit loose, Ash, at her end. But look, she's had a terrific year. You can't be up all the time. But New York, this is the one she wants to conquer. She's conquered Wimbledon. She's conquered the French semi-final Australian Open. This is the one she hasn't gone as far as she'd like. So if she could win the US Open, that's a pretty good year at tennis, and will just stretch that lead even further as the world number 1.
Well, Brett, as always, you're serving up the goods. Thank you so much for joining us on Game On.
Anytime. Thanks, James.
Well, we'll certainly be keeping our fingers crossed that we do get to see Roger Federer play again, but having now clocked up the big 4-0, time is very much the enemy. All right, time now for a final break before we wrap Game On with Sports Business. Hi there, James Preston for Kalkine TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. Kalkine's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on The Tech Beat, exclusive to Kalkine TV. Thanks for tuning into Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston and this is Game On, where we bring you the biggest sports headlines, exclusive interviews and the latest in the world of sports business. And it's now time to dive into the finances off the field. Let's start with yet another venture into the world of sports from the world's fastest growing crypto platform, Crypto.com. They've announced a new partnership with Italy's premier football competition, the Serie A. Crypto.com will become the first innovation and technology partner of Italian football. The multi-year partnership will integrate Crypto.com in each broadcast moment where technology enhances the match, including the VAR and goal line technology. Serie A's VAR Centre in Lausanne will also be co-branded as the Crypto.com VAR Centre. In addition, Crypto.com will present the Liga Serie A Goal of the Month. It's not the first association that Crypto.com has built with Serie A either. In May, the two entities teamed up for the Coppa Italia for a series of sponsored tie-ins, including the creation of non-fungible tokens. And as a result of this new agreement, a new series of NFTs are set to be developed. Now, last week on the show, we took an in-depth look at the financial fallout for FC Barcelona following superstar Lionel Messi's departure, and some of the figures defied belief, but this might be the craziest money-related Messi issue yet. Now, this image of Messi clutching a tissue at his departing Barcelona press conference has become iconic. The photo sums up the emotional scenes around his departure following 21 incredible years with a club that he considered family. And the tissue at the centre of the image is now attracting some eye-watering sums. According to reports, an anonymous seller has put the tissue used by Lionel Messi during his FC Barcelona departure press conference up for sale, with a buyer reportedly willing to pay $1 million for the tissue. Advertising that he would be selling the tissue on a number of different websites has resulted in pretty much a buying frenzy at this point, with the individual reportedly picked up the tissue at the conclusion of the conference, and he claims that the true value of the tissue is derived from the idea that it contains Messi's genetic material, which can be used to make a clone of the soccer star. And given the sums of money that Barcelona have lost following Messi's departure, it might well be worth paying the $1 million to get that tissue, and then the hundreds of millions that would follow to set up a laboratory and start the cloning process, provided the end result doesn't end up like Ellen Ripley in Alien Resurrection. So if Messi's tissue can generate $1 million bid, perhaps this one right here, coated in blood, sweat and tears and the shattered dreams of a would-be soccer star who's had 4 knee reconstructions before the age of 30, must surely at least be worth $10, right? Right? Oh, look, I'll put it up on eBay and I'll let you know how it goes for next week. But that is it for this edition of Game On. Until next time, get out there and score a goal.